Hello there and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian, and welcome to you all. I know that recently the state of the world has many of us on the spiritual path concerned, worried, feeling deep sorrow in our hearts with what is going on over in the Ukraine and probably other things in the world too. There's a lot going on right now. And I know many of us are feeling it in our hearts. Our hearts are going out to the people in Ukraine. And if you're sensitive, if you're tuned in, and if you just care, okay. And most spiritual people do. Most of you all who are watching this video, because I don't think you'd be watching this video if you weren't on the spiritual psychic path. I think you care about people, and you care about things that are happening in the world to people and animals as well, I might add. And so right now, I know a lot of us, might feel thrown off by this and just in grief. And it might be hard. You might be feeling overwhelmed right now, and you might be wondering if there's anything you can do. And so I'd like to address that. And certainly if there's something you can do, do it. I mean, if you are in a position of power where, you can help in any humanitarian type situation directly, you should do that. Now, most of us who are probably watching this video are not. Like, I'm not in a position where I can go to the Ukraine and, personally help, for example. And I'm not a politician or a world leader, so I can't intervene in that way. So yeah, we need to be aware of that, where our role is in all of this and what we can do and what we can't do. But I think let's bring it back to, the basics and the fundamentals for all of us as spiritual people. The most important thing I think that we can do is to hold a higher vibration within ourselves, specifically a vibration of peace, of calm. I mean, doesn't that make sense? Because that's what we want here, right? If we're in Ukraine, we want peace. We want an end to this conflict. So it's just real basic if you think about it that way, and yet it's profound that we need to commit ourselves even more deeply to holding that sense of peace in our hearts. And, that's part of the path of spiritual mastery, is the challenge and the testament, the practice of learning to hold that inner state of peace and calm within, no matter what is happening in the outer world. And that's true, by the way, whether we're talking about world events and what's happening in Ukraine or anything on the world stage at all, or we're talking about your personal life and what's going on around you. And, certainly there will be chaos. That is just part of this three-dimensional realm. For now, there will be war, or there is. There are injustices. And somehow, it's the paradox. How do we, stay on this path and be committed to change, positive change in the world, but we have to hold that peace within to do that, is what I'm saying. And it's not a resignation. It's not an acceptance that, we accept bad behavior, anything like that. It might be a temporary acceptance of, like, this is what is going on, and yet we choose peace. So choosing peace is very important, especially if we want to create peace in the world. Do not forget that. And it's something you can do to help right now, is to take action to choose peace, to create peace in yourself, to preserve peace. And one very good thing that might help with that is to limit your intake of media. I know that when there is a major conflict like this, and it's a big story for the media, and so there's a lot of information running constantly about it, and the tendency is to want to stay glued, to the internet news or the TV set or however you get your news, talk radio, I don't know, everybody gets it differently, I guess. So the tendency is to want to, maybe you don't even want to, you just find yourself falling into that pattern of, digesting hours upon hours of news about this conflict. And that's not helpful. for most people, and I doubt it's going to help you in that to achieve that state of inner peace. So, yes, you can be informed, but you can probably get what you need in a much shorter amount of time in the day. So, and I don't know how much time you want to spend getting informed about details that you can do nothing about. I don't personally think that's very constructive. But if you do, just be mindful. Be mindful of your peace levels. And I would encourage you all to check with that sense of inner peace and calm. If you start to feel your blood pressure raising while you're listening to something, and of course, I think you will with some of these atrocities being committed, but, ask yourself how far you want to go into that. I'm serious. Like, how long and how far do you want yourself to go into that? And be conscious about it if you're going to do it. If you're going to get all worked up and, let yourself get off-centered, I think you should at least be conscious about it. I think the next best thing to sending out a vibration of peace, at least, is to be conscious that you've chosen to enter into a different vibration. Being conscious, being aware, is a power, a superpower of itself that can help the world wake up, at least. So, but right now, what is needed is more peace. So, if we can achieve that, we can help. Now, I know I think most of us do want to really see some change happen here. We don't want this to continue in this way with this violence. So what can we do on that? I mean, if you're not a world leader, if you're not, in the military, or you're not directly on ground zero where this is all happening, is there anything you can do? Remember, you can emanate the energy of peace. I mean, you do understand that's not just some cheesy thing I'm saying. You understand that's powerful, that energy of peace extends out. And if enough of us do that, that will fill the planet. That will change hearts and minds. That will change the course of events. But sometimes we need to call in, the big guns, so to speak, the big dogs, the higher powers. The higher powers, that's what I'm saying here. So, I mentioned earlier, turning off that TV or limiting the news. Turn that off, and my recommendation is, or minimize it, and spend some time in prayer instead. Calling forth to whatever your understanding is of source, of deity, of God, the universal God energy, the divine. Let's make petitions to the divine. Let's enter into a state of prayer and blessing. Let's send the positive vibes. If you're not a prayerful type, in meditation, send the vibes, send the light, the actual light. The light is very powerful. You can couple that with prayer. Let's pray for this situation. Let's send the light. It is very powerful. I mean, if you don't understand that, you're probably on the wrong channel, okay? If you think that the only solutions here are man-made, it's just not true. Now, men and women, humans, we are the instrument through which the divine can work. But there are times, like now, where we need divine intervention. That is what is needed here, is divine intervention. We can, in our petitions and our prayers, we can reach up to the ascended masters, to the spiritual adepts, to those Bodhissattvas, and those enlightened beings who have gone on to the other side, but they can intervene. In times of extreme matters, they can intervene. And we see this throughout history. If you look back, times when humanity has almost lost its way, and then there were miracles. And I know some people think there were aliens that did that. I don't believe so. I mean, it could be. I'm not going to rule anything out. But I also believe it's the spiritual masters, and the angels, especially the archangels. So let's call upon these beings. Take some of that time that you would spend worrying and pacing and feeling sad, and utilize some of that time to call upon the higher spiritual powers to bless this part of the world where this conflict is happening, to ask that all hearts and minds involved be open, to ask for the protection of the innocents. We can also call upon the spirits of the dragons. If you're into the more mystical, even more mystical yet, dragons are great protectors. Ask that their energy be over the Ukraine and all involved, and ask that there be a peaceful solution. Pray that the aggressors find a change of heart and that they turn away from their aggression. Now, you don't want to do black magic here, okay? So I don't suggest that you send bad vibes even at the aggressors. You can do that if you want to. Maybe you do want to. I mean, who am I to tell you? I don't want to stop your free will, okay? I'm just saying I don't advise that. I don't want you to do that on my account. But we can pray for, a peaceful solution. We can pray for this conflict to stop. We can pray for peace and order and light to be restored. And we can join our uplifted energies from the place of peace and calm as much as we can get there, okay? I understand. A lot of us are feeling this deeply in our heart. So maybe you can't get to your best peace and calm right now, but shift as close to that as you can. Get more towards that. And add that light, add that radiance to the light of the masters, the spiritual masters, to the light of the archangels. And call upon them. Ask them to come and to defend and to protect. And join us, join me, and all of the others who are sending light in prayer and asking for a miracle. And this is something constructive you can do. Instead of just worrying, just wringing your hands, do something. Do something on the spiritual levels. I mean, are you on the spiritual path? Are you? If you're on the spiritual path, then you do spiritual work. And this is some of the best energy work that you can ever do, is to send light and healing for a large conflict like this. And just call upon the masters and the saints and the ancestors of the land. Join us in sending the light and bringing healing. And in doing so, you will bring light and healing to yourself. All right, until next time, I'm Psychic Cynthia, wishing you all the best and sending you many bright blessings.